I've done quite a few unusual radio story compilation videos recently, and you seem to enjoy them and always ask for more. So here are some more crazy and bizarre stories from the world of radio. In 1988, an employee of La Mesa country music station, Cason, was convicted of jamming San Diego police radio and sentenced to 6 months in prison and fined £5,000. James Earl Fike, a 32-year-old, was accused of using station equipment to broadcast feedback over police frequencies. FCC investigators used direction-finding devices to trace the source of the interference and arrested Fike at his home. Authorities found a Caisson broadcast radio and a police scanner in his pickup truck. Assistant District Attorney Patrick Coughlin said the sentence sends a message to others who interfere with police broadcasts. 1 year earlier, Jerry Gastile of San Diego received a 3-year suspended sentence and a £1,000 fine for playing 1960s rock music over FBI frequencies. It was a normal Thursday night in 1987 when Los Angeles police were on their way to a call for help in Pacoima. Suddenly, a voice cried out from the police radio, "I'm hit." Officers anxiously conducted a roll call on the radio to determine whether any officer was in trouble. It was determined, however, that the call was a phony. In an earlier incident, 24 officers, 2 helicopters, and special K9 units swarmed over a neighbourhood in the Mid-Cities area after a man using accurate police lingo reported an officer down and in need of help. The hoax apparently involved a stolen Rover police radio. We hear them on these restricted frequencies from time to time, people saying hello or causing a little mischief, said Sergeant Hal de Jong, but I can't recall another case where there's been this kind of malicious hoax. The wasted money is important, added spokesman Jay Frey, but it doesn't even speak to the important calls that went unanswered while officers were responding to the hoax. Engineers set about trying to lock out missing Rover radios, an unknown number of which were lost or stolen citywide, but they were standard analog FM radios, which would have meant a change of frequency, which wasn't simple. The culprit of these hoax calls was never found. A retired couple in a wooded suburb of Detroit returned from vacation in the summer of 1999 to discover somebody had disabled their security system. Then, threatening notes and racial slurs began to appear on their television screen, and the perpetrator used names of family members, pets, and neighbours. Channels changed at random, or the TV came on at top volume during the night. The messages were typed on a keyboard used to select movies from the couple's DirecTV satellite system, and during one weekend, the family taped more than 10 messages. The local police turned over the case to the FBI, who considered it a civil rights violation. Officials suspected someone was using a radio frequency remote control to type the messages. This remote control could have been used outside the house to enter words and change channels and volume levels on the Smith's television, said a DirecTV spokesperson. The culprit, who was believed to be racially motivated, was never found, and the interference and abuse eventually stopped. Back in 1988, officials of the MK&T Railroad Company had been having trouble with 2 people who would sing and talk on their radio frequencies. The train engineers, they complained, couldn't hear their instructions, so the police were called in to investigate. The culprits, 2 brothers, were caught when Detective Bill Pierce asked one of them to sing "Singing in the Rain." They complied, and when police, using direction-finding equipment, traced the culprits to their apartment, one was still belting out his rendition of the movie classic. The 2 men were arrested on complaints of receiving and concealing stolen property. The outcome of the case is unknown. This story dates back to 1988 to Fraser, Michigan, when a couple heard a drug deal being described over the FM monitor they used to listen for sounds in their baby's room. They alerted the police, who later arrested 3 men. Fraser, Michigan Police Lieutenant Carl Smith said the suspects were arrested after they gave their address and telephone number while ordering a pizza over a cordless phone. The cordless phone happened to be transmitting on the same frequency as the couple's baby monitor, and the 3 men had no idea they were being monitored. And finally, another story from 1988. Mark W. Blair, 28, of Laconia, New Hampshire, faked a plane crash and was heard telling searchers that his 3 passengers were dead and he was bleeding to death in a series of announcements over several hours. The resulting search for the hoax aircraft, utilising as many as 100 people, 20 aircraft and 6 police agencies, reportedly cost $50,000. Acting on a tip from a neighbour, police said they searched Blair's apartment and found radio transmission equipment, including one transmitter locked onto the same frequency as the pilot's distress call. At the man's trial, David Webster, a Navy reservist and Delta Airlines pilot, said his crew tracked the voice of the man, who talked sporadically, and said he was chilled, weak and losing blood. He was sentenced to a year in prison and ordered to go psychiatric evaluation, and US Circuit Judge Hugh Bounds said in sentencing Blair, "It seems obvious to me that there is some kind of mental aberration involved for a normal person to set this kind of event into action."